Hello, Alyssa Stevens. Welcome
Hello.
to the show. You and I met while we were online for NFT NYC. You're an NFT artist. You were featured on OpenSea, and that really kind of was like the start of your art world life.
Yeah.
And you left your job. You're full-time art now. Your art is amazing. We're going to take a look at it a little bit later in the show. Tell us a little bit about this kind of boom into the art world. How did that all happen?
So, just ever since I was young, I've loved making art and I've been like a very creative person, but it was always kind of like a hobby because I never thought I could do anything as a career with art. Because I grew up like being told I need to get a good job and make a lot of money and that you can't do that with art. So I always just kind of made art for myself as a way to process the things I was going through. It was just something I've always been naturally drawn towards. And in high school, especially, I started drawing like every day after school. We had to do like a sport or activity. So I did in the winters, I did this thing called Art Intensive. And it was basically like 2 hours every day after school. You could do anything creative, and there were no real rules or structure like an art class where you would have to like do assignments and get grades. So it was like a lot more freedom within it. So I really loved doing that, and over the years, I just developed my art style, and, like, at first, I thought I was terrible at art because I was always comparing myself to other people and trying to make, like, realistic portraits, and I was like, "Why does my art look so bad?" And then I kind of started taking art as something that was more just for myself and, like, kind of not giving myself any rules and telling myself, like, it doesn't matter what it looks like. Art is about the process and connecting with yourself, and I kind of used it as a way to, like, connect with myself and the universe and deal with, like, things that were going on in my life, and once I started approaching art in that way, it also became a lot more enjoyable, and my style became a lot more unique, and so yeah, that's kind of how I, like, got into it, and then in college, I kind of got distracted, like, I wasn't spending a lot of time on my art because I went to a business school, so, like, there were no art classes, I wasn't really encouraged to be creative, but I was kind of like, in class or when I was taking notes, I was always drawing on the side just because I just feel, like, very drawn towards drawing, I, like, have to do it, um, so after college, or like my senior year, right when I was about to graduate in 2020, COVID happened and I got sent home. And it was just like a really hard time in my life. And I kind of like didn't have any friends at the time. And I was just alone all the time. And so I started drawing a lot. And it really helped me to kind of like deal with the things that were going on in my life. Um, so I also like got an iPad during that time and I started making more digital art, and that's where like my first collection, which was on the OpenSea homepage, like all of that art was kind of made during that time period. And so it was really cool to like kind of develop my style in the digital side of art. So that's kind of how I got into it. And then like the NFT space, um I would just kind of show my art to people randomly. I had an art Instagram, like not many people followed it or anything, but it was just something that I like to do for myself. And so people like in my life, my friends or like random people would say, you should look into the NFT space, like that'd be really cool. And so I kind of took it as a sign from the universe that I needed to look into it. And so I kind of just started doing a lot of research. I've always loved Gary Vee and he talks about NFTs a lot. So that's kind of like what really pushed me to do it. And just like, yeah, I was just taking notes on everything and trying to learn. And in February, I decided to just like list my first collection on OpenSea. I didn't really know what I was doing because I hadn't like built up a community at all. Like I didn't understand really like the space and how it worked. I was like, oh, I can just list it on OpenSea. But so a month went by and I didn't make any sales. And then one day I joined a Twitter space that one of my friends in real life who's an artist was in, and he was speaking in it. And so he pinned a tweet of my art at the top and just kind of like introduced me to the whole space. And it was like a pretty big space of over 100 people. And so just from that, I got my first sale. And then about an hour later, I was just like listening in on the space. And then I got to speak in the space and talk about my art and my journey and like what my art meant to me. And a ton of people retweeted it from the space, and OpenSea's Twitter saw it and they put me on their homepage, and it like changed my life. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I've been, when Clubhouse came out, we started this podcast on Clubhouse, not really understanding what Clubhouse really does well and what Twitter Spaces now does even better. And so we kind of like my team got very frustrated with it, and we just didn't get involved in Twitter Spaces when it launched. Now every Monday night, I'm on a 9 o'clock Twitter. It's about free NFTs, and so now I understand the power. Look,
Yeah.
It takes a little knocking to the head a couple of times before I really understand something. Like you, like I have this thing that if I hear about something twice, I research it. If I hear about something 3 times, so that means like in the course of conversation, like if I'm at a party or I'm at an event and somebody says NFTs to me, I go, oh, that's interesting. And I keep it in the back of my head. And then like it could be a month, it could be a week, it could be a year. And then somebody else will be in another conversation and they'll say, oh, NFTs. And I go, oh, okay, I have to do research. And
Yeah.
then like the third time it happens, I'm like, I better get involved in this.
Yeah.
And that has kind of led me that's what led me into the NFT space, right? Is that all of a sudden people sold, his 500 days for $69 million. And I went, oh, okay, well, I guess I got to kind of get involved and see what this is. If you like take one of those Myers-Briggs tests, I test as shy, but when you meet me, like, listen, we were on that line for over 40 minutes, right? I mean, I didn't turn around and have a conversation with you until like the band was playing in our ears.
I know,
It just like takes me a while to like get into like being comfortable where I am and who's around me.
Yeah.
And so like for Twitter Spaces, like first of all, Twitter Spaces and Clubhouse started without recording. Right. So to me, like this is going out to Twitter. This is going out to YouTube. This is going out to Twitch. I get to pull this. I make an MP4 of it. I use it as a podcast. We chop it up. So to me, like spending the time in Twitter Spaces when it wasn't recording was pointless.
Yeah.
And now, of course, it's recorded. So that's super important. But finally, now I'm in this group and we're talking about free NFTs. And I'm like, oh, this is so weird. Like I'm on a telephone call, but like other people can hear me and they can react, they can smile, they can put their hands up, all this different stuff. And now I'm kind of getting into it. So it's incredibly powerful when you think about like 100 people listening to you. And so from that, you like your stuff sells out now like all the time, right?
Well, kind of. My first collection like sold out really quickly.
So this is your gallery. This is Interconnected Planes. This is the first series?
Yep, this is the first collection, the one of the pieces was featured on the homepage of OpenSea.
Do you know which one it was?
Yeah, I'll show you once we get to it.
Oh, once we get to it.
Yeah.
You take a lot of your stuff like is very reminiscent of Picasso. You're using like very similar coloring and you're using like hard charcoal lines.
That's what a lot of people say. Everyone always says my art reminds them of Picasso, which I love because Picasso is like my favorite artist. So
this one I love. This drunk checkers, you go first.
Thank you.
Yeah, the line work is incredible. So you're doing this on an iPad?
Yeah, I use Procreate. It's like a drawing software on the iPad.
That's incredible. So you don't even need like a big computer to do this stuff. Did we get to the piece yet?
Not yet.
Oh wait.
There's over 100 pieces, so it's kind of a big one. It's Time Will Bend for You, that one on the right.
Oh, this one. Oh, excellent. Let's take a look at it. So this appeared on the OpenSea page and just went bananas.
Yeah, I think it was like cool because I had so many pieces and they weren't listed for a lot at all. So when people saw it, they were like, oh, I better get it now since it's on the homepage. And a lot of people did kind of like flip it at first, but now the majority of my holders are just holding on. Like there's very few that are listed, which I think is kind of cool because I feel like it means my holders kind of see the long-term value in my art.
So let's talk about NFT NYC a little bit. So your image, one of your pieces actually was up on Times Square, right?
Yeah, it was so cool. It was so cool, but I didn't get to see it in real life. That I posted a video that someone else took. I was so upset that I somehow missed it because I didn't realize the first day, like the day after we got our badges, um, they they featured all of the artists who were part of the diversity of NFT showcase. Like it was me and 200 other artists about. I didn't know that they were like premiering it at 8:30 in the morning. I had no idea, so I missed it. And then I guess it was going on all throughout the week. And every time I would be sitting out in Times Square just waiting for it, I never saw it. But I'm happy I got a video at least.
Did somebody got the video of it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's on my Instagram. I posted it.
oh, that's great. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I'm not on your Instagram. I'm on your Twitter. What do you think about that? Like the difference between like the audience on Instagram for NFTs and the audience on Twitter for NFTs. I have to talk to people about this all the time.
Yeah, I feel like so like I've had my Instagram for my art maybe almost like 2 years now. I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years. And so it's always just kind of been my audience has just been like other artists, things like that, and not really anything to do with Web3. So then once I got into Web3, I'm definitely a lot more on Twitter. And when I am, and then when I'm sharing like my art on Instagram now, it's like kind of hard to find other people in the NFT space. It's mostly just like other artists. So it's kind of hard to like bridge that gap, I feel like.
Yeah. And what about NFT NYC? Did you like it? What were the pluses and minuses besides obviously your artwork being in Times Square, which was amazing?
Yeah. So I think like the conference itself, it was good. It was great and everything, but I didn't spend as much time in the actual conference. Like I was just doing all the side events mainly. I thought that was the most fun part. But I think like at this event, and honestly, like I went to VCon too. So like all these different events, I just love the networking part of it. Like even how we just met in line and now we're like, I'm on your podcast. Like so cool.
Yeah.
I just like, I made so many cool connections and it was just really fun. Connecting with other people that are like-minded and in the same kind of space as you, because in my real life I don't really have that at all, so besides on Twitter, so it was really fun.
Yeah, our networks have really like solidified from NFT NYC from last year and then to this year. It's not, I'm going to be critical, it's not a great conference, right? But it's a great gathering of people in the industry. I've been in many, many different industries, SEO, e-commerce, all these different things. So I've attended just a tremendous amount of industry conferences. They're just jamming too many speakers and they're not focused. They either need to be an industry technology focused conference or they need to be an NFT fun party like Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Right? That's really, and they're trying to do both and they're not succeeding at it.
Yeah. I hope they do the NFT fun party.
Yeah, I mean, I think, if the NFT industry picks up from our bear market where we are now, look, NFTs are really incredible because of the technology and the way that we can apply the technology to these NFTs. And that's kind of what I was disappointed with. I didn't see like anybody from healthcare. I didn't see anybody from insurance. And that's really what is important and what needs to be done. What do you think is like the number one inspiration for you when you sit down to draw?
So I think I get this question a lot, and so I've thought about it a lot, and I kind of describe it as more of like my art is like an extension of my perspective on life, which is influenced by so many different things. And I think like the main things that my art kind of shows is like connection to myself and to the universe and to others, and just like the idea that we're all one. I've gotten very spiritual over the years, and The Alchemist is one of my favorite books. So that's like played a huge influence in my art, as well as The Little Prince, which is like a children's book. And like childhood is a huge theme in my art as well. So just kind of all of those ideas kind of coming together. And I feel like usually when I start drawing, I don't necessarily have an idea in my mind, but whatever I'm feeling subconsciously comes through in my art. So I think for me, art is really just about like letting myself express myself freely and follow my intuition. And it's kind of like returning to that place when you're a child, when you don't have to like constantly question yourself and you're just kind of living and you're free, and no one has all these expectations to put on you, which that's another theme in my art, is like societal constructs and like the idea of just like kind of like being on this one traditional path that you have to follow. And I just want to like break out of that. And I feel like kind of in a way I have a little bit, which is really cool. So I'd say like those are the biggest things that inspire my art.
I think it's interesting. I never read The Alchemist, but I have read obviously The Little Prince.
Mhm.
It's in your bio as well, The Alchemist.
Yeah.
Give us just like a synopsis of what that is so that people
Yeah.
know.
So I actually have it with me. I traveled yesterday to my sister's in Atlanta, and I bring it with me everywhere because it's kind of like my Bible. I've read
Really?
it like 5 or 6 times. Yeah, you should read it. It's so good. I
I,
don't
I'm
know.
definitely going to read it now. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, so just like in like one or two sentences, like I just don't know anything about it. Like what is
Yeah.
it about?
So like it's just about like there's a lot of themes of connection to the universe and like following the signs, and how like the universe is constantly communicating with us and sending us different signals. And like it's about being aware of that and following your path and like following your dreams and not letting like society and as you grow up like these expectations put on you kind of like steer you in a different direction. And like we're really put on this earth to follow our dreams. Like it's our responsibility. And like we live in a world where it's kind of like frowned upon to follow your own path because everyone wants you to take the safe route. But really I think success is about doing what you're meant to be doing, and you will find success no matter what if you're following the path you're meant to be on. And
Oh,
that means like
I'm
connecting to
definitely reading that book.
yeah.
Absolutely. It's so funny because when you look at our careers, we've crossed, right? You
Mhm.
went to a business school and you became an artist. I
Mhm.
went to an art school and I became a business
Oh,
person.
really? You went to art school?
I
That's so
did.
cool.
I did. I went to Ringling College of Art and Design.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
in
What kind
Sarasota, Florida.
what kind of art did you do? Or do you
I was not a very good graphic designer.
art is
um, and I did a minor in photography,
uh-huh.
and I think that after the 4 years, I then went into graphic design,
Mhm.
um, and I did not like it.
Yeah.
I did
I
not like the industry. I did not like, what I was supposed to be doing on a daily basis.
mhm.
And what's so funny is that, regardless, the art has continued with me throughout, right? What
Yeah.
happened was the dot coms came around. And
Mhm.
so I learned HTML. And then that got me my first couple of jobs inside of dot coms. Kind of the same thing that I'm trying to do with the blockchain right now, right? So, like, my business aside, I'm actually trying to get like into a blockchain company
Mhm.
because I made a lot of money in the dot coms, and if I can
Mhm.
make as much, if not more,
Mhm.
that's a nice retirement package,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So all of this, this technology is coming up so quickly. It's so funny because
Mhm.
we exist in like the future. We are 10 years ahead of everybody.
Mhm.
That's really where we are.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when I was learning HTML, nobody was online. When I was building e-commerce systems, nobody was buying anything online.
Mhm.
Now, e-commerce is commonplace. And so it's the same thing with these blockchains, and it's the same things with NFTs. Like the fact that you've had an incredible career up front means that you're going to be able to have a very nice long career, because the more people that find out about you, the more people that hear about your artwork, they'll get interested in it, right? It's
Mhm.
the NFT space is going to expand so rapidly in the next couple of years. Once we get out of this bear market, which should last for about, I have to tell you, it's probably going to last for the next 6 to 8 months,
Yeah,
right?
I'm excited.
But then I think all the work that people are doing, there are a lot of people that have a lot of projects and they're holding on to them. They're
Mhm.
waiting for the market to change. And once
Yeah,
that happens, I think it's just going to be gangbusters. It's going to be
yeah,
incredible.
I think so. I'm really excited about the future for NFTs. It's really cool how early we are. I thought it was, like, kind of late at first, but really it's still so early because a
So
lot of people, like, if I meet people around where I live, they're like, "What's an NFT?" They have no
yeah.
idea.
Yeah, and they don't understand blockchain, and they
Yeah,
don't all they hear is on the nightly news that, Ethereum lost its value or Bitcoin is down. Like, they don't understand that this is a foundation. Like, I've already been through this with the dot coms. People even say to me, like, outside, like, people who have known, like, what I did in the dot coms, they're like, "Oh, you're involved in the blockchain? How is that ever gonna be successful?"
yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second. You all said the exact same thing when I was going into the dot coms. Like, do you not see where the technology is going? But they can't. They don't see it at all.
I guess that's just how it goes, like, with the internet too, people were scared of that, and now it's like, we can't live without it, so I guess just over time, people will kind of see the value within it, but right now, people are skeptical because it's new, I guess.
So, what do you see like in the next 5 years for your career? What are you planning? What's happening?
So just like so many things. I feel like at NFT NYC and also VCon, like I met so many people and connections in real life that I've been kind of like meeting with, and I'm thinking maybe hopefully I might be doing some like in real life gallery stuff, like
Oh,
more
great.
NFT gallery stuff. So I'm kind of like talking with some people about that. So that would be really cool. I'm hoping that works out. So I don't. It's kind of hard because I feel like the NFT space just moves so quickly that there's probably so many other opportunities that will come up that I don't even know really anything about yet. So but like for the most part, I've just kind of been focusing on my art and trying to continue to grow my community in this market, which isn't a great market, but just kind of being patient and continuing to build upon that. I don't know. I haven't really thought in terms of 5 years away yet, to be honest, but I should start thinking about that, I guess.
Has any of the notoriety and the artwork kind of crossed over to physical, like magazine ads and things like that? Are you working with anybody?
I'm trying to think. Not I did go on 1:37 PM's podcast. Do you know 1:37 PM? Like,
I saw that you had that on the website. Yeah.
yeah. So that was really cool, and I did a POAP with them for their podcast, and then I also, was, like, one of the featured artists at VCon, and I did a POAP with them for that, which is really cool. But, like, physical stuff, not as much, I don't think, but that would be really cool, something that
Yeah.
happens in the future.
And the gallery, the physical gallery,
Mhm.
would you use like we have the what's that frame that everybody uses for the NFTs?
I don't know what it's called, but, like, I know what you're talking about. It's like they showed my art for NFT NYC. They showed all the artists' art on those screens, like,
Oh
in
yeah.
the conference as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Those were
Mhm.
beautiful. They really were fantastic. Great looking frames and everything. I
Mhm.
I'm just blanking on the name of that. I'm
I
sure they're
know.
going to see this at some point and remind me what the name is. Do you go to any other conferences? Is there like do you go to Miami Bitcoin or obviously you go to Gary V's V Friends?
VCon for sure. It was, like, the most amazing conference ever. I loved it. But I haven't been to any others yet, but I want to go to more. Maybe, like, Miami Art Basel in
Yes.
December. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Besides that, I don't know. I'm kinda just waiting to see.
That's great. Well, I'm sure things are going to be fantastic for you this year and
Mhm.
going forward. You're an incredible artist. I
Thank
love
you.
the artwork. Tell us the name of the website.
It's just alyssastevens.com.
We can also find you on Twitter.
It's Alyssa Stevens underscore. Before it was like confusing. So yeah. And then my Instagram is Alyssa Stevens art. But like I have all my links in like a little link tree in my Twitter and
This was really great. I'm so glad that you had time to be able to do this. Thank you so much. It's great having you on here.
thank you so much for having me. It was great.